Wild, right? It's not sci-fi anymore.
Nope, it's happening right now. This new paper just come out, AIDE, AI-driven exploration in the space of code.
Dropped yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday, and people are already buzzing about it.
For good reason.
So we're going to break it down for you, see what all the fuss is about.
Plus, we've got some extra info from the Wiko AI blog.
Oh, right, and those benchmarking platforms.
AIDE-Bench and MLE-Bench.
Yeah, they basically pit these AIs against each other and see who comes out on top.
Like AI Fight Club?
Kinda, yeah, but with code. So you get a sense of how these things actually perform in the real world.
So the first thing to know is that AIDE is taking aim at a big pain point for machine learning engineers.
Yeah, building those AI models, it's not exactly a walk in the park, right?
Not at all. It's a ton of trial and error, tweaking code over and over to get the best results.
Even for the experts, it's a huge time suck.
Oh, absolutely. Even seasoned engineers spend countless hours on this.
So it's like searching for a needle in a haystack of code.
Exactly. And there have been attempts to automate this before.
Right, like AutoML and...
Neural architecture search. But they've had their limits.
Like what?
Well, you often have to define a specific search space beforehand.
So you're kind of boxing the AI in, telling it where it can and can't look for solutions.
Yeah, exactly, which limits what the AI can actually discover.
Okay, so that's where AIDE comes in, right? It's doing something different.
Big time. AIDE is powered by a large language model, an LLM.
Okay, back up for a sec. What's an LLM again, for those who haven't been following along?
Basically, think of it as an AI that's been trained on massive amounts of text data.
Mountains of text, including tons of code, right?
Tons. And that allows them to understand and generate code in a way that was basically impossible before.
So AIDE can, like, speak the language of computers fluently.
Pretty much.
That's kind of freaky, but also really cool. Okay, but how does it actually, build AI?
So AIDE sees this whole process as a code optimization problem.
Like finding the absolute best code for the job.
Exactly. And it uses a tree search to navigate through all the possible code combinations.
A tree search. I'm picturing like a branching tree diagram.
Yeah, it's a way of systematically exploring different options, breaking the problem down into smaller steps.
Until it lands on the best solution.
Bingo.
So is AIDE actually like writing the code itself?
It has a few key components that make that happen. One is the search policy.
Which is?
It acts like a strategic planner, figuring out what AIDE should focus on next.
So like a to-do list for the AI.
Pretty much. Then you've got the coding operator. This is the real workhorse.
This is the one that's actually writing the code.
Yep. It drafts new code, debugs errors, and even refines existing code.
Like a superpowered code editor.
Exactly. And then, to keep things from getting too messy, there's the summarization operator.
Okay, what does that one do?
It's like the AI's note taker. It summarizes past attempts so the LLM doesn't get bogged down with too much info.
Makes sense. Too much info is like trying to drink from a fire hose, right?
Exactly. You get overwhelmed. So this keeps things concise and focused.
So AIDE has its own little team of AI assistants working in the background.
I like that analogy. And one more clever trick AIDE has up its sleeve.
Oh.
It uses a data preview.
What's that?
It's like getting a sneak peek at the data before diving into the whole thing.
So it's not just writing code blindly, it's actually looking at the data it's working with.
Exactly. That way, it can make smarter choices about the code.
Interesting. So how well does this whole thing actually work?
Well, Wiko AI, the company behind AIDE, tested it out back in April 2024.
On their own benchmark?
Yeah, their internal Kaggle benchmark.
Wait, Kaggle? Like the platform where data scientists from around the world compete?
That's the one.
Wow, so they threw AIDE into the ring with some serious competition.
They did, and get this, AIDE actually outperformed a lot of the human competitors.
Seriously?
Yeah, especially on tabular machine learning tasks.
So it was going head-to-head with humans and winning?
That's right.
Okay, that's impressive. But was it just a fluke? Beginner's luck?
Not at all. This early success got OpenAI's attention.
The folks behind, what is it, ChatGPT?
Yep. Among other things, they decided to include AIDE in their own benchmark, MLE-Bench.
So another trial by fire.
Exactly. And guess what? AIDE continued to shine.
No way.
It actually won almost 4 times more competition medals than the next best agent, OpenHands.
Hold on, 4 times more. That's a serious beatdown.
It was when they paired AIDE with OpenAI's most powerful language model, O1 Preview.
Okay, so AIDE plus a supercharged LLM equals AI domination.
Pretty much. And this wasn't just a one-off. AIDE consistently performs better when it has more attempts to solve a problem.
So it's like it doesn't give up easily.
It keeps learning and refining its approach.
Okay, we're just scratching the surface here, but this AIDE thing, it's clearly a game changer.
Absolutely. We'll delve deeper into how AIDE achieves these incredible results and what it all means in the next part of our deep dive.
So AIDE is racking up these wins, but what is it actually doing differently? Like, how is it better than AutoML?
It's all about how it approaches the problem. Remember how we talked about those predefined search spaces?
Yeah, it's like giving the AI a limited set of tools to work with.
Right. AIDE throws that whole idea out the window.
No more limitations.
Exactly. It searches directly in the code itself.
So it can create its own tools, like make up new code as it goes.
Pretty much. It's not limited to a preset list of building blocks.
Okay, that's kind of mind-blowing. But how does it navigate through all that code? It's like a massive jungle of information.
Well, it doesn't try to solve the whole thing at once. That would be impossible, right?
Yeah, it'd be like trying to beat an elephant in one bite.
Exactly. So AIDE breaks the problem down into smaller steps.
Makes sense? Divide and conquer, right?
That's the idea. And that's where the search policy comes in.
The AI's strategic planner.
Right. It's like planning a road trip. You wouldn't just start driving aimlessly.
Nope, you need a map, a route, maybe some backup plans in case of detours.
Exactly. And that's what the search policy does for AIDE.
So it figures out the best route through the code.
Yep. It prioritizes tasks like what to focus on first, second, third.
Smart. So what about the actual code writing? Who's doing that?
That's the coding operator's job.
The code monkey on the team.
Haha, yeah, you could say that. It has 3 main modes.
Okay, lay it on me.
Drafting, debugging, and improving.
So it can write code from scratch, fix broken code, and make good code even better.
Exactly. It's a multi-talented little AI.
Can you give me an example? Like, how would it actually approach a problem?
Sure. Let's say it's working on a machine learning task, something like classifying images.
Okay, so it needs to tell the difference between, say, a cat picture and a dog picture.
Right. So it might start with a simple code snippet using basic features to classify the images.
Like maybe looking at the colors or shapes in the images.
Exactly. But if that doesn't work well, it switches to debugging mode.
Finds the errors in the code and fixes them.
Yep. Or if the code is working but could be better, it goes into improving mode.
So it's like always striving for perfection.
Pretty much. It might suggest adding more complex features to the model.
Like using a neural network to analyze the images more deeply.
You got it.
Okay, so this all sounds super complex. How does AIDE keep track of everything? All that code, all those different attempts?
That's where the summarization operator comes in.
The note-taker AI.
Right. It sifts through all the data and pulls out the key insights.
Like summarizing a long research paper. Just the main points, no fluff.
Exactly. That way AIDE doesn't get bogged down in all the details.
Smart. So AIDE has its own little team of AI specialists working behind the scenes.
That's a great way to put it. And all of this is happening through language.
Language.
Yep. Remember, LLMs are trained on massive amounts of text.
Right, so they understand language in a way.
Exactly. So AIDE interacts with the code through text-based prompts.
Prompts, like instructions.
Exactly. It's like having a conversation with the LLM.
So AIDE tells it what to do, and the LLM writes the code.
Pretty much. It's a back and forth process.
Okay, this conversational aspect is fascinating. It almost makes AIDE sound human.
It's definitely a unique approach, but how does it make sure the code is actually good and, correct and efficient?
Yeah, that's a good point. Garbage in, garbage out, right?
Right. So first off, it has a built-in debugger.
Like a spell checker for code.
Exactly. It catches those common errors before they cause problems.
Nice. What else?
It also uses unit testing.
What's that?
It's a common practice in software development. You test small chunks of code to make sure they're working as expected.
So it's not just writing code, it's also testing and refining it.
Exactly, making sure it's robust and reliable. And it doesn't stop there.
There's more.
AIDE also aims for efficiency. It uses its knowledge of code structure to generate code that's not just correct, but also fast.
So it's like having an AI code reviewer that can spot bottlenecks and make things run smoothly.
Exactly. It's all about optimizing the code for peak performance.
This is all incredibly impressive. But can we zoom out a bit? What are the bigger implications of all this?
That's a great question. I think AIDE is a sign of things to come. We're entering an era where AI will play a much bigger role in how we create software.
It's like the birth of a new kind of programmer, one that can learn and adapt much faster than humans.
That's a good way to put it. But what does this mean for the future of, human programmers?
Yeah, that's the big question, right? Will AI eventually replace us altogether?
It's definitely a concern. Some experts believe that AI will automate many of the tasks that programmers do today.
Leading to job displacement, especially for those doing more routine tasks.
Right. It's important to be aware of that potential impact.
So it's not all rosy. There are some real challenges to think about.
Absolutely. But it's not all doom and gloom either.
Okay, so what's the more optimistic view?
I think AI, like AIDE, can be a tool for collaboration, not just replacement.
So humans and AI working together.
Exactly. We can use AI to enhance our own abilities, to make us more efficient and creative.
So instead of fearing AI, we should be figuring out how to best use it to our advantage.
I think that's the right approach. AIDE is a powerful example of what's possible when we combine human ingenuity with AI.
It's like the best of both worlds, right?
Right, it's a reminder that we have the power to shape how AI develops and how it's used.
So it's not a foregone conclusion that AI will take over everything. We still have a say in how this all plays out.
Absolutely. The future of AI is not set in stone. It's something we're actively creating through our choices and actions.
Okay, so what about the ethical side of things? We talk about job displacement, but are there other concerns?
Yeah, bias is a big one.
Bias?
AI systems are only as good as the data they're trained on.
So if the data is biased, the AI will be biased too.
Exactly. If AIDE is trained on biased data, it could generate code that's discriminatory or unfair.
That's a problem. So how do we address that?
It starts with the data itself. We need to make sure the data is diverse, representative, and free from harmful biases.
Easier said than done, I imagine.
It's definitely a challenge, but it's crucial if we want to build AI systems that are ethical and trustworthy.
So it's not enough to just focus on the technical aspects of AI. We also need to think about the ethical implications.
Absolutely. AI ethics is a huge and growing field. We need to develop AI systems that align with our values, that promote fairness and transparency.
Okay, so it sounds like there's a lot of work to do, both on the technical side and the ethical side.
Definitely, but I think AIDE is a great step in the right direction.
It's pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI, but it's also forcing us to confront some tough questions.
And that's a good thing. We need to have these conversations to figure out how to best navigate this new world of AI.
So AIDE is like a double-edged sword. It has incredible potential, but it also comes with risks and challenges.
I think that's a fair assessment. It's up to us to use this technology wisely and responsibly.
This has been a really insightful discussion. AIDE is clearly a game changer, and it's raising some important questions about the future of AI and the role it will play in our lives.
It's an exciting time to be following this field. There's so much happening, so much to learn and explore.
And we'll continue this deep dive in the next part, where we'll delve even further into the implications of AIDE's success, exploring the potential benefits, the ethical challenges, and what it all means for the future of AI and beyond. Okay, so we've talked a lot about how this whole AIDE thing works.
The nuts and bolts.
Yeah, and why it's such a big deal.
Breaking new ground.
But what does it actually mean for, the future?
The big picture.
Yeah, how could this AI code explorer actually change the world?
Well, it's hard to overstate the potential impact, really.
Bigger than just, making programmers' lives a little easier?
Oh, way bigger. I mean, think about it. We could be looking at a future where developing software is faster, cheaper, and more accessible to everyone.
So more people could build cool stuff.
Exactly. It could lead to a boom in innovation, new solutions popping up all over the place.